It's the Catalyst Sessions again. I'm Bill DeYoung, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm pleased to welcome David M. Jenkins from Jobsite Theater with us today on Juneteenth, because he is one of the people responsible for what you've seen on the Jobsite and Stageworks websites today, which is a stage reading of Vincent Terrell Durham's Polar Bears, Black Boys and Prairie-Fringed Orchids. This is a very important play in the annals of Black theater moving forward, and they did this for a reason. It's really cool, and you can watch it for free, and they recorded it last night, socially distanced. Let's ask David Jenkins about it. Hey there.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Why was it important for you to join in this particular statement making?
Well, I mean, a big part of it started, putting your money where your mouth is. As we're going through the current moment with current civil rights moment, we, like many people, looked internally at what we're doing as an organization, addressing where some of our shortcomings are, and the road to hell is paved with best intentions. And so, we're sitting in this moment and we're asking ourselves, what can we do? What can we do better? How can we be a better ally? What are the things that we can do internally? What are the things we can do programmatically? And honestly, it was a stroke of luck. Aldo Billingsley, who is with Playground Theater in San Francisco, reached out to me just about a week and a half ago and said, hey, we're over in the other Bay Area, and we've got about 30 theaters over there that are working on this piece. Would you maybe be interested in it? So he sent me a script. I read it, I passed it around to some of the other artists, and we decided that this was something that, as far as a nationwide movement, we'd love to be a part of, that really gets at some of the things we're talking about in terms of doing better.
Were there other theaters? I know there was, I think they said 40 in San Francisco, 30 or 40.
Yeah, there are over 30 just in the immediate San Francisco Bay Area, from what my understanding is, but they're spread out all over. I know, like, Oregon Shakes is doing a reading. We couldn't do a simulcast with them because all of these West Coast theaters are doing it live at 7 o'clock their time, which would be 10 o'clock our time. Not to mention also with sort of the late notice of kind of being brought on board, a lot of our performers were already booked tonight for other sort of things or had other plans. And so we thought, we could do this by taping it and then offering it to watch whenever they want all day.
Were you and Carla and Stageworks, were you the only organizations in Florida, or were there others down here? No.
From my understanding, as far as doing a reading itself, it was just us and Stageworks with assistance from Rory Lawrence Productions. But as this has gone on, we've had other theaters across the state reach out to us and say, hey, we don't have time to put a reading together, but can we sort of piggyback onto what you're doing? Like Orlando Shakes is one of those theaters here in Florida that reached out and asked if they could help. If they could participate just purely by boosting the signal and getting it out in front of more folks.
The storyline, this sort of privileged white couple in Harlem, and we're having a black-only cocktail party. I mean, it speaks on so many levels to what's really wrong societally, if that's or societally, in the United States. I'm interested in your take on it, and what you want people to take away from the show.
My take on it was really, I had very strong feelings about the piece initially, but me being who I am, I also recognized that maybe I needed to seek other opinions. And so I was happy to hear from the group of artists that I immediately went to, Black artists within our company and the community, that I said, tell me what you feel about this. And I when first reading it, I almost didn't get through the first 10, 15 pages of it because I wasn't in the right frame of mind. And, I'm kind of like, okay, here's the sort of stereotypical gentrifying sort of woke white couple where one's, here are, and Vincent does this really good job of setting up these characters that can almost be looked at as these very comfortable tropes of the interracial gay black couple, the strong black woman business owner not taking any mess off anybody,
The sister.
Right. He even uses the word, sister.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I saw that.
But but that's the genius of it, because no matter who you are in engaging this piece at the very beginning, you know, with this sort of cocktail party atmosphere of everybody coming in, it allows you to, it forces you to drop your guard. Vincent was first and foremost a stand-up comedian when he began his career, and that really shows through in his dialogue and the jokes. And so you find yourself settling down because of the guard goes down because of these archetypes and because of the witty banner, and no matter who you are or where you align yourself, you can find somebody in that room who you sort of agree with. And then how subversively he uses all of that to turn it all on its head and make such powerful social commentary about so many things, right? White fragility, white privilege, gentrification, the environment, police violence, Black Lives Matter. I mean, it's all in there. And you know, I just found the piece so strong. And then when we got the 6 of us in that first Zoom call to do a rehearsal, we just sort of had to let it sit there when we finished. We finished and the call just went silent. And all of us just had to sit and process it. And we'd all read the play, right? Like we'd all read it, and we had read it a little bit more to go, like we read it considering it, and then we obviously read it more while we decided we were going to work on it, and still it had that weight. Last night, when we completed the reading in person on that stage, it finished, and we just had to let it sit. And my hope is that no matter where your opinions are walking into watching it, and wherever they may be when you finish, I hope that this piece opens up a window for us to be able to look into, just to see and recognize how fraught and complicated the issues that we're all dealing with are. And you know what, like this speaks to me as a human. In trying to do my best right now, I'm gonna make missteps. I'm gonna get stuff wrong, and I have to be okay with that. And you know, we all have to be okay with that, because when you start talking about things like systemic inequality, it doesn't mean the human is a horrible human. It just means the system has cemented itself in such a way that these things become invisible. The best of structures, any structures, even the best structures within society or an organization or a business, become so comfortable they just walk backwards and become completely taken for granted. And that is even within the theater industry. That is what it is. I know I'm not one of the bad guys. I hope not. I keep asking people, like, please call me out if I ever do this. Please say that. Like, and I have had folks just yesterday, I had someone write me and say, you might want to rethink the way you show visually the actors in the piece. And I completely didn't think of that, because the way I listed the actors in the promotional piece visually was by order of appearance in which they came in the play, right? So I
noticed that. Yeah, you know, I was going to say, okay.
And online in the website with the list of credits, they're done alphabetically.
Alphabetically, that's the one I saw. Yeah.
Right, and so, you know, again, I didn't get angry. The person didn't get angry with me. They just said, "Hey, did you notice that?" And I went, "Oh, no, I didn't."
Yeah.
You know. And I didn't get angry. I didn't get defensive. And these are just conversations that we're having right now that then open your lens a little bit and then allow you to see things from another perspective, from a perspective outside of your own.
So many theater artists say to me that one of the things they treasure so much about doing theater, especially contemporary theater, is, and it always just sounds like something they say, is that it holds up a mirror.
Yes.
It holds up a mirror. And I think that a show like this really does make you look at, oh, wait, I am like that. I do feel
Right. You know, and
so this might be a great example of that.
I think it is. And sometimes, you know, all theater does hold a mirror up to nature, you know, and sometimes it's that really nasty super magnification one that shows all your bad pores.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a mirror that, you know, the light's perfect. It makes you look a little sexy, You know, sometimes it's a funhouse mirror and distorts things, and a piece like this gets at, and I love that it does it through humor. I mean, folks who know me, my PhD was written on comedy, and comedy is something that I take very seriously. And the fact that Vincent goes about this piece with so much comedy, the way that these individuals are all whipping one-liners and cracking on each other over the course of this cocktail party until that gets pulled out. And I think that that's powerful and that's helpful. I'm just, we all walked away from this last night going, man, we really want to do this show for real right now. It's really hard. And you said this a little bit like right before we went on air, and I've had other people even comment on this. It's really hard to sit 6 actors on a stage where they are all at least a minimum of 6 feet away from each other individually and record a reading of a play without movement. It's not even a staged reading. A staged reading really is people are moving around. They've got a script, you know,
up
like
and
that's
down,
that's a staged reading. This is a reading. My actors walked in to the space. I temperature checked each and every one of them on their way in. They went about whatever sanitation ritual they needed to do before taking their seat. They took their seat, and it was only right when I hit record on that camera did they take their masks off, and we began the reading. And as soon as the reading was over, masks went back on, and we followed the same safety protocols on the egress. And so that's hard. It's hard. As wonderful as it was to get back in a room and actually have live actors around you, even if they're far away. And I know the actors even felt this too. It was still different because it was an empty room. There was no audience response. Because we were recording a tape, I couldn't laugh at stuff that I thought was funny, because that's just going to sound weird. Like that's the guy sniffing his parts and laughing about whatever. So
I heard you reading the stage.
Right. I was reading the stage directions, and I didn't want to laugh on a, you know, like, and mess with the video. So it's still not, it's not the real thing. It's a step. I'm interested in exploring that step more. Frankly, I feel like it's way better than a Zoom call. With the reading over Zoom, you know, even with some of the shortcomings of a video like that, I'd still prefer it. And it was just wonderful to be able to connect again with artists and actually do something like that. That was meaningful.
That's something I definitely want to address. What role can theater play in changing society, I guess?
The same role we've played for thousands of years. We keep forgetting that, you know, or we diminish it, or we don't really give it the consideration it deserves. In that, you know, when we enter a little room like that, right? And we at JobSite have been using this tagline of a great reckoning in a little room. It's another Shakespeare quote, but that's what happens. You bring people in this space, and we are around each other, and I'm sitting next to people I don't know. Maybe I know them, maybe, and this exchange of what's happening between the bodies on stage and the people in the audience. Theater forces you to look at people. Theater forces you to bear witness to other people's stories, to their pain, to their logic. It forces you to reckon and grapple with things. And you know, I believe it acts as an equipment for living. You know, we use these things. They then help us navigate similar straits and situations. They make us re-examine how we maybe think about a topic or a group of people or an event. And that's a good thing, right? Being someone who is open to ideas and capable of change and evolution. And then hopefully those things that happen within the human, within the room, in that moment, that dynamic emergent space where this stuff is happening, then hopefully that trickles out of the theater, and then people have that conversation in the car ride home, or they have that conversation with a coworker the next day when they say, hey, you know, I saw this play the other night, and they detail their experience and then encourage the person to go do that thing. And theater is not the only medium that does this, but it does it in a very unique way.
Let's talk about where, I'm going to shift gears slightly, about where you are right now. I can't remember the last time we talked. It's been a couple of months. Things
Yeah.
are still new and kind of raw.
Right.
Now they're old and kind of raw.
Yeah.
I mean, it still kind of stinks.
It does stink. And I'll
Yeah.
be real honest. I went into a real bad funk when all this broke down,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I went into a really bad funk. And I really shut within myself, and I had difficulty sleeping and high anxiety, and I was eating too much and probably drinking too much, and all these things that you're just
Yeah.
and that was really hard to shake. And it's only been in the last couple of weeks when I've shaken through that fog a little bit, and I feel like I'm finally getting back to myself. And right now, I know where we are, and I know how bad things are, and I know that Florida is gonna Florida this, for lack of a better phrase, but Florida's gonna Florida, right?
Yeah.
And
it's a euphemism for another F word, I think.
right. But where I'm at right now is, okay, look, these are the circumstances. They may not change for a while. What can I do? How can I get people back to work? How can I provide an experience for people that maybe allows them to get out of the house in a safe, socially distant, healthy, sanitary manner, and maybe get a little bit of entertainment? And so this is exactly this thing that we did, was the first thing that you can watch all day today, was the first thing that made me feel, okay, I'm kind of feeling like a productive member of society again.
That was cathartic for you, wasn't it? It really was.
It is, because to have all of that taken away, that's like, theater is my church. It's my social circle. It's I don't want to be that person. It's my life, but it is kind of my life, right? And to have that taken away for an indeterminate period of time, it crushed in a way that I didn't even fully recognize within the moment. And it's only now coming out of the moment where I'm like, man, I was a kind of a weird, sad bastard there for a couple of months.
So what happens now? Where are we going now?
Well, we are working our tails off on a whole lot of things. We fully recognize that with JobSite, we very probably, I'm not going to call it yet, but we very probably won't be on a theater stage indoors for the rest of 2020. Maybe some things are possible. We're looking at a lot of options right now. We're working with the Straz Center on a lot of scenarios that might be things that we can do in alternate spaces, outdoor spaces. Maybe there are things that we can do in larger spaces with a diminished capacity. We're not going to do any of these things willy-nilly, and we're not going to do any of these things without a lot of thought and planning that go into these. But there are things, I'm tired of hearing no. And I think that there are ways that we can. And so I'm spending my effort right now asking what can we look to do? It's not going to be traditional theater. What can we do to maybe get artists back to work?
So you think like maybe the drive-in theater concept, that kind of thing?
It's been something we've talked about, right? Like, at this point, no idea is bad. But maybe there are things we can do. I'm very inspired by the Berliner Ensemble. I talk about them all the time. It's like my dream company. Like, I would legit drop everything and move to Berlin to be part of this company. But they've developed.
You gotta explain. I'm going to sit here and pretend I get it, but I don't. So
look them up, Berliner Ensemble.
I will. Can't do it right now, but I will.
Yeah, right now they have created an outdoor theater space, and with seating sort of scattered outdoors, and they are performing one-person shows every day, Thursday through Sunday at 6 o'clock. These events are free to the public, but the tickets are made available on a per-day basis, and when they're gone, they're gone. And if it rains, it rains. They don't reschedule it. And so I'm looking at things like that, right? I'm looking at things that we might be able to do maybe in lieu of what some of our main stage shows were going to be for the fall, not as replacements, but as, okay, we can't do those shows right now. We'll put them into next year, but right now, maybe we can do this. And while I'm doing that, hopefully this allows us to, again, put our money where our mouth is when it comes to trying to put marginalized voice, to center marginalized voices, which has been historically very difficult for us when it comes down to finances. And unfortunately, even in the arts, a lot of things come down to money. And right now we're in a place where we know there ain't a lot of money, right? So maybe I don't have an excuse to try some of these things out. So I can't say anything today, but on Monday we will be making an announcement of the next step of what JobSite's going to do, and it will be.
This is exciting. I mean, I'm picturing, the Coliseum. Right? Actually, I'm picturing Christians and Lions, but let's put that one out.
Hey, like.
But an outdoor thing, I can see that, like an amphitheater. What? Right. Ray's Stadium, is that being used right now? I mean,
they're right.
The Rowdy Stadium.
And I know that not every theater is in the position we are. The theaters that work exclusively with equity actors, they can't have these conversations right now because the union's not even going to allow that. I really feel for my friends and family who are union members who will have that even taken away from them at this time. Hopefully Actors Equity can figure something out and come to some sort of agreement.
They're just trying to be safe, right? Isn't that the idea?
I think a lot of it is, right? And unfortunately, I think regional theater often gets very caught up in what's happening in New York, and New York is just a different, it's not the same sport as what we're doing. Touring Broadway companies, and even within the theater community, when you look, we have a $350,000 to $400,000 annual operating budget. We do a lot with almost nothing, and there are theaters even in this market that are multi-million-dollar operations, right? We're not one of them. And we're also not the Schuberts going to leave a chorus girl high and dry in Des Moines in the middle of the night, and that person's not going to have a way home, like, the reasons why the union was founded. So we're excited. I'm excited. And I think there are ways to do it. And this is not a rush to reopen. This is not a rush to be irresponsible, but this is hey, in 4 to 8 weeks from now, what are things looking like, and how might we be able to react? Right now, that's exactly.
Isn't it? I mean, it's constant adapting to the set of circumstances that's thrust upon us.
And that's why I don't want to say, you know what, we're just closing up shop until 2021, or we're just going to go ahead and wash our hands of this season and we'll be back next fall. Which that might very well be what happens to our main stage season, but we'll take it every 4 to 8 weeks and we will continue to make those determinations. Since I'm sort of a one-man gang when it comes to JobSite, I don't need to worry about, do I need to furlough somebody else in the next 6 to 8 weeks, or am I going to have to furlough somebody? And I don't have to consider any of that. So right now, what can I do? And that's where I'm at. What can happen? What can I do?
I saw you notice about video auditions. I mean, you have a perspective 2021 season.
Yep. And if we don't do it,
God knows whether it'll come off or not.
Right. And this isn't wasted work. Like, we're having pre-production talks. I'm researching things. We're looking at all of this stuff, and we're doing all this work, which is great, because a lot of times in a normal year, we'd be too busy to dedicate as much time as we are to this. So I think that's great. Hey, again, I'm in silver linings mode right now. I'm not sad anymore. And so even if we do not do these plays in the fall of 2020, they're getting moved to the fall of 2021. If we get into the spring of 2021 and we're not going to be able to do these plays indoors, they will get moved to the spring of 2022. So if someone was good enough, if someone was right for this casting right now, I can't imagine they're going to be any less ideal in a year from now. Now, they might not take the job, but this work is not being done in vain. Is what I'm getting at.
I don't like for when it needs. Yeah.
I don't like video auditions, to be honest, because I'm a vibe guy. There's a reason why.
Yeah, it didn't sound like you. Really.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not me, but I'm adapting, right? Like, I have never in my life offered a part to anyone purely off of a videotape. Even when I've gotten videotapes, I've been like, I need to meet you. I need to be in the same room with you. I need you to read against other people. And folks that live out of market or who are out of town for an extended period of time, that has frankly cost them opportunities just because I don't feel good about it. And so I'm adapting,
Well, there's a series of callbacks, right? You know, we send a video. I like the way you look. Come and talk to me, and whether it's 6 weeks, 6 months, or whatever it is. So you don't get hired just based on your video audition.
No,
Doesn't work that way.
No.
No.
And with the callbacks, you know, we might even need to do those. We probably likely will need to do most of those over some sort of Zoom. I just feel like this one a barf. I mean, I know I'm on Zoom right now. I guess I shouldn't say that, but
well, no.
When it comes to theater things, this is a great platform for interviews and stuff like that. But, yeah.
Yeah. There was some. We're just about out of time. There was something else I wanted to ask you, and I have no idea what it was. Well, I should ask about doubt, because is the set still up in there?
It is. And that's still our intent.
Or something now. Is that like, ooh?
No, you know, what's funny is the facilities, one of the facilities managers for the Strass Center, every once in a while, because he's like 1 or 2 employees still left in the building, just making sure the ghosts are happy, right? Yeah. And he'll send me a picture of the set. It's like, just want to let you know she's doing all right, you know, and so we'll get back, you know, we'll get back in there, we'll do it. No one knows when, right? Like, but when we can, it will be there. And until then, we're going to figure out some other stuff.
But for you, it's a good thing to close on. I remember what I was going to say, that at least now, as opposed to a month or so ago, you're more of a glass half full person. You're looking.
I am.
You're an optimist now. We're going to make, what is it, a mountain out of this molehill, or what other cliche?
I'm just going to stop being a sad bastard, man. That's right. What can I do?
I'm with you, David. Hey, more power to you. We'll see you soon, okay?
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.